Today I will go over the reasons why you should support Kurds and Kurdistan. First, I'm a Kurd myself, so obviously I'm inclined to defend my own people and land. But you may be wondering, why should I care? Well, let's start with a short overview of our history. In 1916, the Sykes-Picot Agreement divided the Middle East between the European powers. Then, after World War I and the defeat of the Ottoman Empire, a provision for a Kurdish state was made by the victorious Western Allies. This provision was implemented in 1920 with the Treaty of Sèvres. However, Kurdish hopes of achieving independence were destroyed 3 years later when the Treaty of Lausanne set the boundaries of modern Turkey, omitting any reference to a Kurdish state and leaving Kurds with minority status in the other areas, which would become new countries, namely Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Now let's start with the reasons why you should support us. We are one of the largest populations in the world that do not have their own country. Kurdistan is the indigenous land of the Kurds, and our land is a sacred cause for us. All people deserve to retain the land where their ancestors are buried and where their history was formed. Kurds have suffered decades of bombings, chemical attacks, forced displacements, deforestation, genocide, ethnic cleansing, massacres, and mass imprisonment from Turkish, Iranian, Iraqi, and Syrian governments. We have been through the Zilan genocide, the Dersim genocide, Khomeini's jihad against Kurds, Saddam's Anfal campaign, the Halabja genocide, and the Yazidi genocide by ISIS, where hundreds of thousands of Kurds were killed, set on fire, chemically attacked, and buried alive. We have gone through the ethnic cleansing in Afrin and its olive trees watered by blood. In Iran, we have been facing frequent executions by hanging. Thousands of Kurdish villages were burned down by the Iraqi army in the 80s and by the Turkish army in the 90s. We do not want to be mistreated, killed, beheaded, raped, prosecuted, and hanged just for being who we are. The global community after the Holocaust agreed to never let genocide happen again, but keeps failing at this goal when it comes to the Kurds. Kurdish women fighters have inspired the world by defeating ISIS. Also, Kurdish culture has given women prominence in a very progressive way. Women fight alongside men and are an example of women's liberation all around the world. The terminology used to describe Kurds should be heroes, not terrorists. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has a right to education in their mother tongue. But to this day, Kurds are denied this right in Turkey, Iran, and Syria. We want to freely speak our language without the fear of being attacked. Just a year ago, in 2020, Barış Çakan, who was a 20-year-old Kurdish man, was stabbed to death in the Turkish capital of Ankara just for listening to Kurdish music. According to international human rights treaties, every human being has the inherent right to life, and this right shall be protected by law. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his life. Our occupiers are violating these treaties and no one talks about it. All people deserve self-determination and to live freely in their ancestral homeland. The right to self-determination is inherent to basic human rights and fundamental freedoms. All the UN declarations reserve space for self-determination, and we as a people have every right to self-determination. Our struggle for national liberation against the occupiers is real. We have our own flag, traditions, and celebrations which play a central role in our culture. Kurds are very welcoming and hospitable people who support everyone. Kurds are a multi-religious people. Yazidis, Zoroastrians, Jews, Muslims, Alevis, and Christians are living peacefully alongside each other. We have so much to offer the world. Kurdistan is very rich in terms of cultural heritage. For example, the Erbil Citadel, which was built more than 6,000 years ago, is one of the longest continuously inhabited places in the world. Our language is thousands of years old. We have 4 main dialects: Kurmanji, Sorani, Zazaki, and Gorani. I speak Sorani and Kurmanji. Our language is so diverse and rich in its expressions, and this diversity can be found in our poetry and music. Kurdistan is mountainous and full of rivers and waterfalls, which make it very majestic and beautiful to visit. On 25 September 2017, the Kurdistan Regional Government held an independence referendum. An overwhelming 93% of the participants voted in favor of independence, so the people should get their wish. This is the essence of democracy after all. We dance when we are happy, we dance when we are sad, and we dance when we are in war. Kurdish dances are usually in long lines with linked fingers or hands and synchronized foot movements. If you deny the existence of Kurds, we cannot find peace with our neighbors, and an armed struggle for our rights will continue, which kills people on both sides. Other people are writing our history at the moment. We deserve to write our own history, as all people do. We are not attackers but defenders, as we are always being attacked. We have always been oppressed, but we are brave. We continue to fight against injustice, which makes us survivors and not victims. We have faced 100 years of hope, struggle, and betrayal, but the media does not pay any attention to us because we have no representation in the United Nations. You cannot say that you do not know any Kurds any longer and do not know our story as you know me and mine. We have no friends but the mountains, so will you be our new friend? Harbiji Kurdu Kurdistan.